I've been one of the main moderators for the Ultimaker online community for the past 3 years. I'm actually show you today, for the first time ever, some of the things that I learned that we did right and that we did wrong. And I believe that when you're starting a small company, you can actually create an online community that becomes a very important part of your company, and also gives you a lot of feedback and a lot of very rich information back to you. So an online community should not be an idea that comes later. It should actually be an idea that begins at the start of a company. So we're going to have a little bit of fun, and I hope that in the next few minutes a few more people might join us. Hello. And really, this is actually some kind of insider information that might help your company if you're interested. So let's have some fun. So the 3D printing secret weapon is you. Let's be honest, okay? Every company has a product. And most of the time the product is designed in-house. It's a beautiful product. And you focus your energy, you focus your effort inside. You say, okay, I have 7 people in my company. That's how many people I have. But you can, of course, build a community online that makes your team even stronger. And the secret to a fantastic secret success is to actually involve the outside community. And we're going to explain a few of the benefits. So let's see if this works. Very good. So as I said, your company 3D printing. First of all, let me explain. I basically don't like this typical PowerPoint presentation style where someone sits 3 o'clock in the morning drinking a coffee and doing some very bad graphics. And I decided to do it with my hand. It's quicker, faster, and I got the idea across. So your company and your 3D product. As I said, your company develops a product. It has marketing, it has distributors, it goes into shops, it goes online, you sell your product. It's a very direct, simple way. Goes to the customers. I'm not going to say what printer that is, but basically that's it. So that's kind of the very simple model. And yes, it can work, and yes, the success rate is, now it depends really how good you are, how good your product is. But now we're going to talk about something different today. We're going to talk about another step that a lot of small companies forget about. So you've sold your product, congratulations. So for a lot of people, that's the end of the story. But I don't believe that is. I think that's actually nearly the wrong way to go about it. Okay, next is... thank you. Okay, so new thinking and more potential. Going to go one more. Okay, so the insider, the outsider. I know I'm going to get the question later that I've done a lot with Ultimaker. Ultimaker is open source, and it's much easier for open source companies to work with the outside community. But I actually believe that a good creative company with a closed source product, so like patented, copyrighted, can also be very, very proactive and work a lot with outside people and get a lot of feedback straight back into the company. So this is what I'm talking about, the outsider-insider relationship, or vice versa. It's the same thing. And this is something that a lot of companies don't think about. A lot of companies think, okay, we've designed a product, we're looking for distributors, we're looking where we're going to sell it, and that's it. It's a closed mentality. And what I'm talking about today is I'm looking at a company that, yes, it started off as open source. It still is open source. But a company that basically looked at a wider perspective and saw, how can we use the world to help us? And this is something that small companies can do as well. They just have to do it clever. Okay, next. Good now. Global community. So at the moment, with the insider-outsider, you have 2 directions, okay? You have the people separated, the customers, the outside world separated from the inside company. And with a global community, you're actually changing that direction, and you're actually pointing both sides at each other. You're forcing the company to discuss more with the outside world. You're also forcing the world to discuss with your company. And of course, if you've been active, if any of you have ever been active on any online communities, MakerBot, Ultimaker, for example, you know how much creative ideas come about. People look at the problem, look at problems, look at weaknesses in the design, look at bad marketing, for example, and they give feedback straight away to the company. So, start it right. Okay, what I'm going to say is, a lot of people say, yes, okay, online community, let's do it. And they also say that it's an important part, but it comes later. They don't think of it as an initial part of the actual company. And I say it should be. And another very important part is, and this is just from my experience, that when you're starting a company, when you're designing the best product in the whole world, when you're designing the best marketing, you have the most clever people, okay? Start your community from the very day, the very start. Let people join in with you. And also, a big secret is, learn from other people's mistakes. Don't go overboard. Look at what does work. Look what doesn't work. Copy people. There is no copyright on the idea of success for an online community, for an online family. Yeah, it's not, you're not going to get slapped on the hand by some big company. You can basically take clever ideas from other companies, make it work from the very beginning. So, this is something, okay, I'm going to explain a little bit. Again, I come from the open source background, and again, I know that you're going to have a lot of small companies that are closed source. This is the typical business model, and it's also very good. One of the big questions that people are going to ask me is, I hope is going to ask me, is as a closed source or as a typical closed source company, how do we get people involved? How do we get people interested? Because we can't share everything. We can share some things, but we can't share everything. And one of the big helping things about your company is, and a lot of companies don't do this, you have to start with a philosophy. You have to sit down and say, who are you? You have to say, what do we want to do? Are you going to be another company that produces photocopying machines, goes to Korea, goes to China, goes to a few messes, goes to a few exhibitions, sell your machines, fantastic. Welcome to a club of 1 million. Or are you going to create a real unique identity? And when I say unique identity, I mean a philosophy. You have to say, who are we as a company? What do we want the people to think of us? What do we want to achieve? What do we want to make better? Who do we want to help? And you have to, and just as a tip, if you want to start your small company, and you want to do the community, and you want to pull people in, and you want to make your team not 7 people, but 7,000 people, create a philosophy. It has to be flexible, it has to be fair. You have to make money, you have to make profit. You're in the business to do it. But you can also be honest, and you can inspire people through your philosophy and your company identity. As I said, learn from others' mistakes. One thing I've realized is, when a lot of companies actually start their online community, and they always do it a little bit too late. They start and they can contact a web developer. They get him, they pay thousands of euros. He starts from fresh. And they get a few customers, they get a few clients, they get a few members online, they get a little bit of feedback. And they realize very quickly that there's a mistake here, there's a mistake there, it doesn't work, it's not so fast, people don't get private messaging, people don't get what they want. People don't get what they expect, because some of the bigger forums that a lot of people are on, everything has been worked out. And my question is, why in God's name do people not sit down and go through 10 of the best forums you've ever been on, write a list of 100 things that you really like about it, sit down with your web developer and say, I want this. And before I have this, I'm not going to put my website online. Yeah? So at the very beginning, at the same stage that you're developing your concept, your original product, sit down with what you think has to be done. Don't, please God, look, this is just from 3 years of experience, everyday experience. Don't make the mistake of letting some design guy screw you out of a success story, okay? Learn from what other people have done wrong and really read what's important. Put that into your design from the very first day. And then when people go online and you get new customers and you get new people interested and Google starts searching your website and starts pinging you up on the results, and people go in and say, wow, cool, I can log in, I can send messages, I can post pictures, I can post videos, I can link in YouTube. They want it and they feel relaxed, they feel free, they sit down, they have a cup of coffee, and they start posting. And then people start to change and exchange information. And your company sits down and looks at this and says, wow, this is fantastic. This is not only incredible information, incredible feedback, but it's also basically pinging us up on the Google results. It's pushing us up on results. So when people look for our specific product, wow, hello, we come up on the first page. The people, your team of 7,000, for example, is doing work for you. It's actually pushing you up on the results. Okay, this is something, again, I learned. A lot of companies, for example, here in Germany, when they began to build a little community, they said, okay, we're selling our products in Germany, our main customers are in German, we're going to do it in the German language. Unfortunately, that's a big mistake. Don't do it. Please, God, don't do it. Start in English, because we're talking about a technology, we're talking about a technology industry, and let's be honest, okay, I know I live here in Germany, I'm very proud, ich kann Deutsch reden, but the international language of technology and science is English. And if you want to start off on the very right step, get started in the first go, do it in English. You can play with different languages later. You can introduce more sections to support people in Japan, people in China, other languages like the Americans, for example. Okay, sorry, bad joke. And basically, please start in English. You can actually focus your energies in English. Don't do multiple languages because it'll waste your time. You're going to get the biggest pound, the biggest energy, the biggest benefit from your efforts if you start with the English language. So, as I said, right, when you are starting and you sit down with your best friends, 4 or 5 guys, in Berlin, for example, developing a cool 3D software, for example. You say, wow, cool, we are 5 or 6 really cool guys. This is the typical, normal mentality. You think this, you think inside your little bubble. But you have to realize that if you put your hand out into the world, you make that very welcoming to the world. You say, come on in, guys. We have a cool place to talk about things. What do you think? Here's a beta tester. Here, try it. Yeah? You don't have 5 or 7 guys sitting down working on your product. You have 1,000 guys. You have 5,000 guys, really. With a little bit of energy and a little bit of focus, you can make something very, very big, very, very powerful, and you can actually cultivate the energy of hundreds, thousands of people out there that want to help. These people, when they get behind you, when they see that you have a philosophy, when they see that you have a cool product and you want to do something really amazing, they want to help. It's the natural feeling, it's the natural sense of people, creative people, engineering people. They want to build, they want to create, they want to make better, but they don't have a way to do it. So you give them that way, you give them that chance, you make them a part of your team, you make them welcome and say, you're my best friend, sit down here, we're going to work together. You don't have to pay them, they just want to help. One interesting thing I've learned about communities is, and this is something that no one will ever tell you, so these are really kind of the inside little tips that I have collected over the last few years. Create VIPs, create celebrities, promies, whatever you want to call them. When you have a company and you're designing products, you have marketing guys, you have designers, you have programmers, okay? Normally, a lot of these technology guys, they like to sit behind their computer, they like to pull down the curtains, they like to stay away from the world. But that's not the right way to do it. It happens a lot, but it's not right. And one thing I've learned which isn't very public, but it's really amazingly important, is that creating celebrities, creating people that represent your company, not only online, but also in the real world. You want to get people out, meeting people. For example, this fair, this mesa here, this is a perfect example. You set up a company, you have an online community, a part of your family, a part of your team, the extra 500, okay? And they make contact and they say, Peter is a cool guy. He's an amazing creator. He's an amazing designer. He has cool ideas. He has a cool product. And then Peter types up on the community and says, hey guys, cool. I'm going to be in Erfurt next Tuesday or next Thursday. Are any of you guys coming over there? Some of them will say yes. Some of them say, hey, cool. I live in Nuremberg. I live in Berlin. I'm going to come down. I'm going to meet these guys. And when you have a few people from your community meeting your guys, your team, in reality, shaking hands, drinking a beer, yeah, eating a steak together, these guys are not going to be just writing once or twice on the community. These guys are going to be, they're going to be living on your forum every day after work. They want to talk to you. They think you're your friend. It is a kind of a friendship, yeah, between members of your team and the people outside. And again, I'm telling you, I'm really trying to reflect that if you learn from some of the big success stories, even from a small company, you can make the community, an online community, your back team. Your team, not 7, but 700. Okay, another interesting little tip, okay? When you're building up a forum, when you've learned from other people's mistakes, when you have it set up from the very beginning, and really get this going from the beginning, it's really super important. Try and sniff out people on the forum that come in the first few months from different parts of the world, okay? There's a very simple reason, of course. You have different time zones. And when, for example, you have a customer, or you have someone interesting, or you have someone that's come in through Google, you want them to go in and say, hi, how's it going? My name is John. I have a question. Does it do that? Does it do this? What can you do? How fast is it? How slow is it? And if you have users that have a good experience or a good interest, make them moderators, but pick them very carefully from different parts of the world. And know that they're excited. If they're not excited, if they're not into your team, you feel it. You feel it very easily if they're interested or not. And, okay, okay. And basically pick them from different time zones. So when someone actually puts a question on, when someone wants a conversation, you know that the guy in Australia is going to be online at this time. You know the guy in South America is going to be online at this time. You know the guy in Germany, France is going to be online at this time. This is really important because people have very little patience, yeah, nowadays. People want quick responses. That's very amazingly important. You have to get a response back, a friendly, wonderful, excited response back to the people. And you don't know how amazing when a potential customer goes onto your community, asks a simple question, and gets a response 20 minutes later, gets a little email on their iPhone saying, and you have a new email becoming, haha. This is one of the golden things. This is how you're going to win people. This is how you're going to put smiles on people's faces. And this is how you're going to make the difference, and I really mean, guys, the difference between your company and the other 95%. So, we're nearly finished. Constant and exciting. This is, again, insider tips. This is not me. I just want to say this is not a self-portrait. Constant and exciting. This means, yes, okay, you have the interaction. You have the interaction between your team and the outside world. Fantastic. This is amazing. Do competitions. Do quizzes. Do meetings. Keep it exciting. Keep it you guys are coming from the creative background. You guys are coming from the technology background. Your jobs is to create, not just to create a product, but every day to create new ideas, new innovations. And take that energy That doesn't have to be copyrighted. Take that energy and put that into your community. Make it excited. Make it that these people sit on their chair for 12 seconds, read your community for 20 seconds, and jump off again after 10 seconds because they're so excited they have to go to the bathroom. Right. So, again, and this is kind of just capping off the end result, okay? Keep it excited, keep it honest, keep your philosophy, yeah? Start it from the beginning. Look what other companies have done. Take the mistakes from other people, learn from them before you even start. Don't change later. It really irritates people. When you have a bad platform at the beginning and you change it later, get ready to lose massive amounts of your support and massive amounts of your invested interest, okay? And then what are some of the big benefits? Feedback. You become popular on Google. Yeah, you get free publicity. It's fun. It keeps your engineers and your designers excited. Instead of them sitting down for 10 hours every day or 12 hours or 14 hours programming, they can sit down for an hour, they can sit down for 2 hours, they can talk to the community. They don't have to give away all your secrets. Don't be scared that you're going to give away all your copyright. But they can talk, they can openly talk, and they get ideas, and it keeps them awake, and it's a lot better than a cup of coffee. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, I think my presentation is now over. I think the lovely man in the white shirt is ready to pull me off. And as I said, I have 3 years of experience. I have seen what works, I have seen what doesn't work. And today, I know there's only a few people here, but it was actually quite interesting to give the insider tips on tricks, and something that even small companies that you guys, or big companies, are starting or developing, that the online community is the untold success part of your company, and a lot of people don't realize that. And if you do it right, and if you learn, and you pay attention to what I told you guys today, you can actually be even more successful. And it doesn't cost you too much. So I'm very, very happy to talk to you gentlemen today, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed my presentation. And if any of you have questions, I'd be very, very happy to answer any questions here. Okay? Thank you very, very much.